as a result of this, on Shabbos morning, I was arrested together with my father and with the landlord. And after several hours of interrogation, everybody was released except myself. And they took me into the torture chambers and tortured me for a whole week, trying to find out who are the commanders and all the other secrets.
What did you tell them?
Nothing. I played innocent. I played very innocent. I don't know from anything. And finally I convinced them, because they did me a favor. After a week of torture, they said to me, if you won't tell of the things that happened here, we'll release you. But as a test, we're going to send you for convalescence. So where did you send me? Into prison, into the central prison of Jerusalem, where I was supposed to be, according to the promise, 1 week, and then to be released, because I didn't say anything. And when the week was almost over, the chief inquisitor, the chief torturer, Captain Kerens, was blown up by some of my friends on his way home. So there I was, with a promise that couldn't be fulfilled. So after a few weeks, they sent me to a detention camp, which was called Sarafend. Today it's called Tzrifin. This is one of the centers of the military force.
How many times were you imprisoned by the British?
7 times.
7 different times?
7 different times.
I remember you telling me that you called one of these torturers you said he was behaving like a Nazi.
A Nazi.
What was his response?
Thank you, that's a compliment.
He considered that a compliment. So the torture of prisoners is a standard procedure on the part of the British and so on. It's interesting that in our day the suggestions were made that Israelis torture prisoners,
yes,
which is
by the British. Yes.
By the British.
The British suggested that we were torturing prisoners.
It's a common, I think, psychological phenomenon of called transference, in which you accuse somebody else of something that it's customary for you to do. How did you keep your spirits up in all these visits to the prisons?
Well, Jabotinsky once wrote a book about Samson. And as the story goes on, and Samson was blinded
by the Philistines, his boys that were helping Samson to terrorize the Philistines, which were called Shualim, according to the story of Jabotinsky. The foxes.
The foxes.
Or jackals.
Yes. Sent one of their members to Samson, to the land of Philistine, to ask him what are his instructions, what should they go on doing. So Samson said, you've got to remember 3 things. First of all, Melech. Our Jews have no leader. Make yourself a leader. Have unity, have discipline, coming up, coming down from the top. Then Barzel. The second one is Barzel, which means iron. As it's known historically, the Jews were not allowed to have any blacksmiths because they might have made bows and arrows.
The Philistines forbade them.
Yes, the Philistines forbade them. The third thing he said, learn how to laugh. I've learned from the Philistines that they laugh at themselves. They can take a joke, they joke at themselves, and that keeps up the spirit. We adopted all these 3 principles, and the strongest thing that was the tzchok, the laughing. I remember when I was taken to Akko prison and chained by hand and foot. We were 5 people in one of those closed trucks of the police. And from Jerusalem to Akko takes a number of hours. We were laughing, we were singing, I was playing my harmonica. And the British were sitting there, the guards were sitting there, and they're looking at themselves. They couldn't understand. Here are people who are being taken to prison. And Akko was the Sing Sing of Israel. And we were laughing. The spirit of laughter, of song, with lyrics that were expressing our craving for freedom, our concern about our families, but yet the belief that someday we will be free from prison and free in a free nation.
We'd like to hear one of those songs now, if you still remember them. You still have the words that you wrote back in those days?
I somehow kept the words with me.
All right, let's hear one of the songs now. What will it be? Well, we have, you mentioned to me that you have a song, Hakol Cholef Im Haruach.
Yes,
right.
This is a beautiful song.
All right, why don't we hear it now as Cantor Zvee Aroni sings this song of the underground that was sung in the Akko prison, which he himself prepared the melody. The words were by Shlomo Skulski, and he's going to be accompanied by Shlomo Shai, who is a distinguished Israeli entertainer who has come to share with us in this program today.